was an advertisement saying that no woman need to apply. So she immediately made it as an issue and wrote to JRD Data saying that how can you discriminate, because it is a violation of this constitutional provision also. Then immediately, because the notion was that women cannot do these jobs, but when you are given the opportunity, you will definitely prove yourself. That is not happening in many a time, and it is also a notion. It is ingrained. It is not just the JRD Data. Even in our own home, we say no. Oh, you lift the bench, we will say, let some boy or men will come and do that. That is what. If anything to be hanged or anything to be tied up from the top, immediately we look for the men to come, and that may be happening in various other institutions. Here it is SRC is a women's college, and therefore everything might have been done by the women, the girls, there in the classroom at least. But when it comes to outside, any stage program, large program, then naturally it is up to every teacher also, or girls also, to expect the men to come and attend. So those are to be broken. I can share my own example there in Bharadas University, when a huge board was to be shifted from down first floor to second floor, which was asked by some other department. They're asking that, okay, we will send some boys, when the girls were that. We said, no, this boat can be equally carried by the girls also to upstairs, no, don't worry. So that kind of a thing should be that we are not actually trained to do so. The moment they say, okay, let the boys come. So the girls also should not refrain from doing such work. And that has been because of the socialization there at home, where you are told that you are soft, you are not like a male, you are not like boy. And male, on the other hand, you are not, should not be like girls, soft. You have to be tough enough, muscularly strong. You have to take these things, and should not leave it to the girls or daughters or sisters. So that all these, whatever which is all prevailing in the society, or if they are not ensuring equality, they are violation of the constitution also. That is what I should say. Then I was talking about CEDA, that is Conventional Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which is actually saying that men and women, of course, those days we were talking about men and women, now we have to include the whole spectrum of gender spectrum of LGBTQIA plus. So it was talking about the state obligation to provide equality, and also not to discriminate, and ensure substantiated inequality. Like you have to ensure that equality, not in the names, for the namesake, but it has to be the real. So this SIDA document says that state parties shall take all appropriate measures to eliminate discrimination against women by any person, organization, or enterprise. So this has been there since 1979, but is India free from, or any member countries for that sake, free from discrimination, or particularly gender discrimination? Of course, there are a number of areas in which discrimination. I don't say only gender discrimination, caste discrimination, class discrimination, ethnic discrimination, ability discrimination. We sometimes, I've been observing that the people, even now, when in Delhi, when people come for the program, recently there was a program where I could see the diversity in the total. That is also ensuring women's rights. There was a program happening, and it was initiating Gender Academy, launching of Gender Academy by IWCA. So I could see a male, a female, a transgender, a disabled, and also one more. I think 5 all. That is what I said. Recognizing the uncured person also. So that is what 5 different. That is what we mean the diversity. Recognizing in general. Say for example, I don't know how many men could have been here in this seminar, because when we are, of course, it is contemporary human rights issue. When it comes to any program related to women development, 90% will be women speakers, and only 10% will be the men. In the mainstream other topics, it will be 90% men, 10% would be the women, or sometimes even absence of women. And that happened even in the programs where now it is called different name, Malavia teacher training center. MMTC, but earlier it was the Human Resource Center, where for one refresher course of 14 days, and earlier it was 21 days, almost some 50 resource persons invited were all men only. In fact, the slides were the gender gaps, trying to say that gender inequality is the major factor which manifests into human rights violation. So human rights is to be ensured means then the gender inequality in different forms should be addressed. So based on the World Economic Forum data, we could see that there are gaps there in the economic participation. Only 60% of the population, in the political population only 22% women are found in the global context. And as far as education is concerned, women far perform better than the men, right from, say for example, 90 to 222. You can say that the pink is informing the female and blue is male, and definitely female are on the. They started very behind the boys, but now as of the latest performing better. And the UN, of course, is the World Economic Forum projected the number of years required to ensure equality in certain countries. Let me talk only for South Asia. It says that in terms of economic, political, cultural, social inequalities, it will take 2191 to reach the equality. And in the workforce participation, it is 42% globally, but in India it is only until recent time only 25%. Recently now it has gone to 37%, but 37% was also as per the periodic labor force survey, PLF survey, 23. It is 24 also, 24 and 2024. It is saying that it is because of the inclusion of unpaid care work, because earlier we are not accounting for the unpaid work, but now we are accounting there in the census. And this is the representation for the A. You can say that, see, women are more found in education and finance, that is the service areas, rather than in technology or manufacturing, where it is only 30%. And so when you take the 100% of the women in any society, you can see 67.24% are outside the labor force. That means only 34% are working, or roughly 35, or one third, close to one third, and two third are not working. So that means it is not that they are not working. They are, say for example, 34.7% are concentrating only on domestic work, and 14.1 they are both taking domestic work as well as some small paid work, maybe tailoring and other things. And the 11.3 are in the schools, and 4.3 are pensioners. And of the 32.8% of the female in labor force, that is who are working for wage or salary, 19.7% are in self-employment, that is the major, and 6.8 only casual labor, and regular only 5.3, and 1.1% are not employed. So to put together the why Indian women out of job market, because of the major reason is childcare. 44.5% childcare, 33% they are in the school or college, whatever, and only 0.7% said financially well off. Say this is also the middle class trend, where the women withdraw because the sufficient income is being earned by men in the family, and therefore there is no need for women. Or the family themselves say, I am a PG or a PhD holder or an MBBS, whatever, it doesn't matter for the family. This family has, even people say, for generation together you can use this property and income, or you want to go and struggle yourself, better take care of the family. So that is why the gender division of labor, I already told the role that the women are the caregiver, continue to, even if you are educated, professionally qualified, doesn't matter. And I already told the women face vulnerability in their workplace. And one of the important major concerns is the informality of women works. Informality means there is no assured social security, and it is also not only just absence of social security in the informal sector, but also increased exploitation, overworking conditions, lack of mobility, and higher risk of violence. I did a study recently there in Trichy only on the women sanitation workers, and it was found that these women now 90% of the women on contract. They are not the permanent workers. As far as they were permanent workers, they could get social security benefits, but now this contract workers, they are given for 15,000 per month, including if they are absent for 1 or 2 days, then that will be deducted. That is what the informality. They are only given the PF and the ESI. ESI never, they don't go. PF, some part is deducted. But still, even for this, the women are so happy because there is no other employment. And these women are not much educated, and drawing 15,000 is a good, because I know my own students after PhD, they just joined in as guest lecturer drawing 5,000 or 8,000. So in that way it is. But what I'm trying to say is that there is complete, after the new economic reforms policy 1991, the globalization, liberalization, and privatization, the work also gets informalized, the qualified or characterized into informalization, casualization, contractualization, and which means that you are like a putting out system. When you go to work, you will get the payment. If you don't go, then I also did a study on construction workers, the domestic workers, and also the street vendors, all those, they are vulnerable, and how they suffer because of lack of regular income on the one hand, and also absence of sanitation facilities. So I'll try to kind of conclude, bringing 2 to 3 important issues or contributions. This is the contribution of Gladia Goldwyn, who was the Nobel laureate last year in 23, who explained based on the 20,000 household data in the US, uh, try to inform that this economic participation of women or work participation of women is the U-shape. So in the beginning, when agriculture was the primary occupation, more and more women, so roughly about 55% of the women could be. But as you moved to since 1857, you all know history, industrial revolution was there, and the women started. What is the expectation when the industrial revolution is there? More and more employment will be there, and therefore women will be participating more. Therefore, this curve should have gone up. Rather, it is coming down, sloping downwards, and it reached in 1910 to the peak of the bottom, to the bottom. So it was informing and well described by the Nobel laureate Gladia Goldwyn, that is because the women did not find it comfortable to go to industry, work for, because those days 18, 16 or 14 hours you have to work in the factory. You all know even March 8th is celebrated as Women's Day, fighting against these 18 hours or 16 hours of work to make it as 8 hours of work. Now we are blessed in the organized sector to work for 8 hours of work, but that was not the case. So when the women who had flexibility when working there in agriculture could not find it easy to report to the industries because the child care and elder care or the household care activities, etc., could not be performed, and therefore there is a slowdown. Then, thanks to all sorts of initiatives, affirmative actions, and expansion of education, that is what she attributes to 3 factors: expanding education, changing expectation. Like girls are going to school, girls are going to higher education, girls are going to professional education. So you cannot keep them at home; they have to be sent to work. So that changing expectation, and of course, there in the US context, contraceptive pill, because there the marriage system is not much. They can use the marriage pill and contraceptive will postpone the child birth, etc. So these were the 3 important factors which contributed to women's economic participation. But at the same time, even I am engaged in the research on STEM, and that is in gender barriers for women in STEM fields, science, in technology, engineering, maths. And this is very much reflecting in this interview of various professors and the nationally important institutes like IIT, NISER, ISER, etc., that marriage and childcare has been negatively playing for the women to have a break career break. And it is very much depicted in this picture that men and women started their career equally and they were going on the same linear curve. But women, after marriage, they have, after the pregnancy, they have to take the child care and also the entire care. So even now, my colleague is applying for the child care leave for boy doing 10th class. So that means even for coaching the